Hi guys, welcome back. So I'm using Simon Says Stamp's colour blend cardstock, and I used it with my hot foil, my glimmer hot foil machine, and the September 23 Sunflower Border from Spellbinders, as well as the Thankful Tractor from September 22 for the sentiment. But I used the glimmer plate and the coordinating die on this cardstock, and wow, couldn't believe how well it hot foiled. It was a total experiment for me because I'm still, every time I drag my machine out, I have to kind of remember how to use things, but it's so perfect on there, and I think it's because it's super smooth cardstock. So that, for anybody who can get their hands on that, I got that in a kit, so for anybody who can get their hands on it, again, honestly, it hot foils like a dream. So onto the black piece of cardstock that I wanted in the background, I'm going to use the opal gold color in for the Gansai Tambi opal, starry opal, I think that's what it's called. I showed you that earlier on, and I love these watercolors. These on dark colored cardstock are amazing, so I decided to grab one and grab it again and just add some splatter. I needed where the border, like where you'll see where the sunflower border sort of ends at the top part of it, it kind of left it a bit blank, and I just wanted something extra in the background because why not? And these on a black cardstock or a dark colored cardstock are just divine. I just love them. I did a recent Halloween card where I used I think it was Honeybee Stamps. Can't remember the name of the stamp set, but I used a bunch of like witches hats, and I watercolored on the same black same black cardstock. Hello, get my teeth in. So all I did was I smushed it, mixed it up, and then just tapped the paintbrush over it to get some splatter on there. It's that simple, easy, old school splattering. There you go, good old splatter. So I've got that on there, and obviously it's wet because it's a watercolor paint, so you need to let it dry, or if you're impatient like I am, then use a heat tool. So this is the Ranger heated tool. It looks like a hairdryer. It is not a hairdryer, just FYI, that thing will burn you. So be very careful. It has the same amount of heat that a heat gun would have, the one that we would use for heat embossing powders, but it is slower, so it's more of a drying heat, if that makes any sense. So it's great. It's great for all your projects where you need to dry in between layers and all that kind of stuff. Tim Holtz uses it an awful lot. He's a big advocate for it, and honestly, many of you are as well. I love this tool. I sometimes will heat emboss with it as well, because me and heat embossing, we just have a bit of an issue. Sometimes it works, sometimes it really doesn't. So I used that to dry off as much as I could, the splatter, and then just cooling my piece of paper down. And as Tim always tells us, paper has no memory, so just if it gets a bit warped, just bend it back on itself and it'll come flat enough, right? Don't overthink it. So I thought about popping that on there first, and then I decided that I would actually put the whole piece together before, because I want to pop the entire piece up on some foam, which you will see me do later on. And so I'm using some wet adhesive on the back of this beautiful hot foil. I just couldn't believe how beautiful it was, panel, and I will stick it to the base of the black piece. And these pieces are now 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So there will be a 1/4 inch border on my A2 card, which is a white card base. And I love it. So I added a acrylic block to that just to help let the glue bond to the paper, and they can just become friends for life. And the like splatter in the background is very subtle, but it's so pretty. So I got my little sentiment strip, which is from the Thankful Tractor die set, and I used the same ombre paper to cut it, and then just sort of sticking it flat to the card, to the black panel as well. And I used, because there was quite a lot of adhesive on the back of the sentiment strip, I actually tapped it on my hand to get rid of the excess, so it wouldn't be quite so mucky, because although I love adhesive and I love wet adhesive in particular, I think it's a, if you get a really good, a decent brand, it's your best friend, but it can be a bit mucky, especially when it comes to little tiny die cuts and things like that. So if you ever have those and you find that you get like globs of glue on the back of it, just tap it against your hand, which you can see there. Tap it against your hand and it takes the excess off, but it will still leave enough on there that you can then put your pieces together. So I hope that helps some of you. I often forget to do that, but it obviously came to me when I was doing this card. So once I'd done that, I got my, this is only 1 mil thick. I use this stuff a lot, so you guys probably seen this loads of times in other videos. Just a 1 mil high foam tape on the back, just to give a little bit of something to the card. So it's not going to be super bulky, it'll still mail as normal, it shouldn't cost anything extra, and it just, I don't know, it just lifts the card on the front. So again, with things like when there's foam on the back of a whole panel, I struggle to get this lined up, so I'm using another little way of doing this, not my usual old trick, and that kind of worked a bit better. So I've just added an acrylic block to the top of that. Again, my wet adhesive, I still want that to kind of keep bonding. So you can see it's pretty flat, but it's got lots of shine. There's this sort of shininess of the ombre paper or card, and then you've got the super shininess of the hot foil, which in real life is amazing. And I just think it worked out really nicely, and you've got the subtle shimmer in the background from the paint that we splattered, and again it just gives something else to the background. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys, and I hope you give this a try, and get your splatter on because it works for everything. Bye for now.